Imagine a young prince in the heart of Riyadh, navigating the intricate webs of one of the world's most powerful royal families, not born as the obvious heir but rising through sheer determination, strategic alliances, and a bold vision for the future of his nation. Today, we dive deep into the extraordinary journey of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, a leader who has reshaped his kingdom and captured global attention with reforms that promise to transform Saudi Arabia into a powerhouse beyond all. From his early days shadowing his father in the corridors of power to orchestrating one of the most ambitious economic overhauls in modern history, this is the story of how MBS became the visionary driving Saudi Arabia into the 21st century. Stick around as we unpack the facts, the challenges, the triumphs, and the controversies that define this remarkable ascent. Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud was born on 31st August 1985 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as the first child of Prince Salman bin Abdulaziz and his third wife, Faida bint Falah al-Hitlain, from the powerful Al-Ajman tribe. He was not the eldest son of his father overall. King Salman had children from previous marriages, but he quickly became one of the closest to his father, who served as governor of Riyadh for decades before ascending to the throne. Growing up in the royal court, young Muhammad witnessed the rapid modernization of Saudi Arabia, a country founded by his grandfather, King Abdulaziz ibn Saud, in 1932 after decades of unification campaigns across the Arabian Peninsula. His education began in Riyadh, where he excelled academically, ranking among the top students in the kingdom during his primary years. He went on to earn a bachelor's degree in law from King Saud University in 2007, graduating with high honors and gaining a strong foundation in legal and administrative matters that would prove invaluable in his later roles. Unlike many royals who pursued lavish lifestyles, Muhammad showed an early interest in business and governance. After university, he founded several companies and a non-profit focused on promoting entrepreneurship among Saudi youth, reflecting his belief in empowering the private sector. In 2009, he became a formal advisor to his father, then the governor of Riyadh, handling key portfolios and learning the intricacies of public administration, urban development, and economic planning. Riyadh was booming during this period, with massive infrastructure projects transforming the city, and Muhammad was right there, absorbing lessons on leadership, negotiation, and long-term planning. His father, Prince Salman, had a reputation for being a skilled administrator and mediator within the royal family, qualities that Muhammad would inherit and amplify. The young prince was known for his work ethic, often working long hours and focusing on practical results rather than protocol. As his father rose in prominence within the line of succession, Muhammad's responsibilities grew. When King Abdullah died in January 2015 and Salman became king, Muhammad was appointed Minister of Defense at just 29 years old, a move that signaled his father's trust and marked the beginning of a new era. He also became Secretary General of the Royal Court, giving him immense influence over royal affairs and decision-making. One of his first major actions was overseeing Saudi Arabia's involvement in the Yemen conflict, launching Operation Decisive Storm in March 2015 as part of a coalition to counter Houthi advances and restore the legitimate government. This military engagement, while controversial internationally due to humanitarian concerns and a prolonged stalemate, demonstrated MBS's willingness to take decisive action on regional security threats, particularly Iran's influence in the area. Saudi Arabia cited threats to its borders and the need to protect the strategic Bab el-Mandeb Strait as key reasons. In April 2015, He was named Deputy Crown Prince, positioning him as a key figure in the succession. His rapid rise was not without internal challenges. The Saudi royal family is vast, with hundreds of princes from various branches, and succession had traditionally favored seniority among the sons of the founder. King Salman, however, prioritized competence and vision, restructuring the Allegiance Council and making bold appointments. Muhammad consolidated power by chairing the Council of Economic and Development Affairs, where he began laying the groundwork for sweeping changes. He recognized early on that Saudi Arabia's heavy reliance on oil, accounting for around 40 to 50% of GDP and most government revenue at the time, posed long-term risks amid global shifts toward renewables and fluctuating prices. The 2014 to 2016 oil price crash highlighted vulnerabilities, with budgets strained and youth unemployment becoming a pressing issue. By 2016, Mohammed unveiled Saudi Vision 2030, an ambitious blueprint to diversify the economy, develop public services, and enhance quality of life. The plan aimed to boost non-oil GDP, increase private sector contribution from about 40% to 65%, raise women's workforce participation, and position Saudi Arabia as a global investment hub. Key pillars included investing in tourism, entertainment, technology, and renewable energy. He announced plans for a massive sovereign wealth fund, the Public Investment Fund, PIF, to be expanded to over $1 trillion, with investments in everything from Uber to Newcastle United Football Club and major domestic projects. The flagship Neom project, a $500 billion futuristic city on the Red Sea coast, was launched to attract talent and capital, featuring advanced technologies, sustainable design, and economic zones. Other giga-projects like the Line, Oxagon, and Red Sea developments followed, promising to create millions of jobs and redefine urban living. Vision 2030 wasn't just economic, it included bold social reforms. In 2017, cinemas were reopened after a 35-year ban, and live entertainment events proliferated. Women were granted the right to drive in 2018, a landmark change that boosted mobility and economic participation. Guardianship laws were relaxed, allowing women greater independence in travel and work. These moves modernized Saudi society, appealing to the youth, over 60% of the population under 30, while drawing criticism from conservative elements. MBS argued that moderate Islam aligned with the kingdom's traditions and the Prophet's era, distinguishing it from stricter interpretations. He cracked down on the religious police's excesses, limiting their powers to advisory roles. A pivotal moment came in November 2017 with the anti-corruption purge. Dozens of princes, businessmen, and officials were detained at the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh on charges of graft, embezzlement, and money laundering. The operation recovered billions in assets, according to Saudi authorities, signaling a shift toward transparency and accountability. Critics viewed it as a power consolidation move, targeting potential rivals, but supporters highlighted how it addressed systemic issues that had drained public resources for decades. Figures like Prince Al-Walid bin Talal were involved, and settlements were reached, bolstering the treasury. This purge aligned with Vision 2030's goals of efficient governance and investor confidence. Internationally, MBS pursued an activist foreign policy. He strengthened ties with the United States under President Trump, with the 2017 Riyadh summit marking a high point of cooperation against extremism. Saudi Arabia increased its military spending and diversified partnerships, including with China and Russia on certain fronts, while maintaining the US as a key security ally. The kingdom played a central role in OPEC Plus production decisions to stabilize oil markets. On the Israel-Palestine issue, while not normalizing relations publicly at the time, there were reports of behind-the-scenes coordination against common threats. MBS has emphasized economic pragmatism in diplomacy, using the kingdom's wealth and strategic location to forge new alliances. Throughout this period, Muhammad balanced tradition with innovation. He married Princess Sara bint Mashhur bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in 2008, and they have children, maintaining a relatively private family life amid intense public scrutiny. His personal style, often appearing in Western suits or traditional thobes with confidence, projected a modern image. Yet, challenges persisted. The Yemen war dragged on, drawing human rights criticism. The 2018 Khashoggi incident severely damaged his international reputation, with US intelligence assessments linking him to the operation, though Saudi Arabia denied direct involvement and prosecuted individuals. MBS has since focused on rehabilitation through economic deliverables and reforms. As we continue in Part 2, we'll explore the deeper implementation of Vision 2030, the economic transformations, ongoing reforms, global impact, and the future outlook for Saudi Arabia under this visionary leader. The journey from a dedicated advisor in Riyadh to de facto ruler is filled with bold decisions that have already changed the kingdom's trajectory. Mohammed bin Salman's story is one of ambition meeting opportunity in a nation at a crossroads, proving that leadership is about vision, execution, and the courage to challenge the status quo. Building on the foundation laid in his early rise, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman pushed forward with unprecedented momentum to turn Vision 2030 from a document into a living transformation of Saudi society and economy. By the late 2010s, the kingdom was investing heavily in non-oil sectors, with tourism seeing explosive growth after easing visa restrictions and promoting historic sites like Alula and Diriyah. Entertainment city projects and international concerts brought global stars to the kingdom, generating billions in revenue and creating jobs for young Saudis eager for cultural opportunities. Women's participation surged, female labor force involvement rose significantly toward the 30% target, with more women in leadership roles, startups, and even driving rideshare services. These changes were supported by educational reforms, scholarships, and programs like the MISC Foundation, which Muhammad championed to foster innovation and entrepreneurship among youth. The Public Investment Fund became a global player, with assets growing rapidly through strategic investments. Saudi Aramco's 2019 IPO, one of the largest in history, raised funds while maintaining the company's dominance as the world's top oil producer. Aramco diversified into petrochemicals, renewables, and downstream projects, ensuring energy leadership during the transition. Neom progressed with groundbreaking on the line, a linear smart city designed for sustainability and high-tech industries, aiming to house millions and attract top talent worldwide. Other initiatives like Qiddiya for entertainment and sports, and Red Sea tourism resorts emphasizing luxury and ecology, positioned Saudi Arabia as a destination rather than just an energy supplier. GDP growth targets were pursued through fiscal reforms, subsidy adjustments, and value-added taxes introduced to broaden revenue bases. Domestically, MBS addressed social issues head-on. Unemployment was tackled with Saudization policies, requiring higher local hiring in various sectors, alongside training programs. The kingdom invested in infrastructure on a massive scale, new airports, high-speed rail like the Harman train linking Mecca and Medina, and smart city technologies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Saudi Arabia managed one of the more effective responses in the region, with strict measures, vaccination drives, and economic support packages that helped recovery. Vision 2030's human capital development programs expanded scholarships and vocational training, preparing citizens for a knowledge-based economy in AI, biotech, and green energy. On the international stage, Mohammed strengthened Saudi leadership in the Gulf and Arab world. The Abraham Accords dynamics and shifting regional geopolitics saw Saudi Arabia engaging more pragmatically. Relations with Qatar were mended after the 2017 to 2021 blockade, and ties with Iran remained cautious but with diplomatic channels. Saudi Arabia played key roles in OPEC Plus to manage oil prices post-pandemic, balancing producer interests with global demand. Investments flowed both ways. The PIF backed major projects abroad while welcoming FDI, with targets to increase foreign direct investment significantly. MBS met with world leaders, from US presidents to Chinese officials, advocating for Saudi interests in energy security, Middle East stability, and investment opportunities. Critics point to authoritarian aspects, including restrictions on dissent, with arrests of activists and journalists noted by human rights groups. The concentration of power in the hands of the young Crown Prince, who was also appointed Prime Minister in 2022, streamlined decision-making but raised questions about checks and balances. Supporters argue this was necessary to overcome bureaucratic inertia and vested interests resisting change. The anti-corruption efforts continued in phases, promoting meritocracy. Women's rights advanced further with reforms to marriage, divorce, and custody laws, alongside increased representation in consultative bodies. Cultural shifts included music festivals, sports like boxing and wrestling events, and a burgeoning film industry, signaling a more open society. Economically, by the mid-2020s, non-oil revenues had grown substantially, with tourism, logistics, and mining sectors expanding. Saudi Arabia aimed to rise in global competitiveness rankings, improving logistics, ease of doing business, and innovation indices. Green initiatives aligned with global climate goals, including net zero ambitions by 2060, massive solar projects, and hydrogen production plans. The kingdom hosted major events like the 2023 FIFA Club World Cup expansions and bid for future tournaments, boosting its soft power. Internally, public support among youth remained high due to tangible improvements in opportunities and lifestyle, though economic pressures from inflation and diversification costs were managed through targeted subsidies and job creation. Looking ahead, Mohammed bin Salman's vision extends to making Saudi Arabia a bridge between East and West, leveraging its geography, faith heritage as custodian of the two holy mosques, and economic might. Succession is secured as Crown Prince, with his father King Salman providing continuity. The transformation is ongoing, with Vision 2030 entering new phases focused on execution, sustainability, and global integration. Challenges like regional tensions, climate change, and technological disruption remain, but the Crown Prince's track record shows adaptability and ambition. From his law degree and advisory roles to defense leadership, economic overhaul, and social liberalization, MBS has navigated a complex legacy, honoring Saudi traditions while forging a dynamic future. His story underscores that true leadership lies in confronting realities, embracing bold ideas, and mobilizing a nation toward prosperity. Saudi Arabia under his influence is not just surviving the post-oil era but thriving as a visionary player on the world stage, proving that determined leadership can rewrite a country's destiny. This comprehensive journey highlights facts of resilience, strategy, and transformation that continue to unfold.